So Nick, I know it's been a tremendous source of joy for you to have helped so many people around the world with SHARELORD turn their financial situation around, develop a new stream of income. How does that feel?
I mean, for me, it's very emotionally profitable. To see somebody like really embrace an education and make a difference in life, it's very much well worth it.
Now, what about the doubters? I'm sure that most people that come into a program like SHARELORD, they have that feeling of, well, maybe that has worked for a few people. I'm not so sure it's going to work for me, or maybe I'm not so sure it's going to work, period. And then when those people actually do the strategies and get that kind of a result, how's that for you?
I mean, think about it, like they become like a beacon of light. I mean, they change the entire paradigm, their entire mindset, and it really makes a difference. But you just got to make a conscious decision to make a difference in your life and take massive action.
Well, and I know that you've had a number of great students, people that have learned from you and gone on to make some fairly significant strides with their own finances, and we're very privileged to have one of them with us here today, George Focus. George, thanks so much for joining us.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure, and I'm excited to hear your story, and I wonder if you could take us all the way back to the beginning and just share, how did you come to SHARELORD?
Sure, originally. What happened with me was I finished school back in 1992, and the funny thing was I didn't qualify for university or for college or TAFE, and I basically went straight into a JOB, what we call just on broke.
Just on broke.
Just on broke. And my parents from Europe with a European background coming into Australia, they had no English language whatsoever, so when they came into Australia they went straight into a job. My father was working many hours, my mum would be at home looking after us. So growing up I knew my mother, but my father, all he knew was you got to work hard. So all he would do every day, well in fact my father never learned how to drive, so he would get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, catch 2 trains, 2 buses to get to work, to start at 6 o'clock in the morning, to work a 12-hour shift, catch 2 trains, 2 buses and come home, have dinner, go to sleep, and do that 6 days a week.
So you never saw him?
So I never saw him. I'd usually see my father on a Sunday. So all he knew was you got to work hard and provide for the family. And a lot of people live that life. So growing up, my father always said to me, never invest in the stock market, always invest in property. Because as you know, many people out there go, I know someone who knows someone that's lost money on the stock market. Quite funny now when I hear that, I always say to the people, bring that person to me and let me see what they've done and how they've lost money on the stock market.
Right.
But growing up, my father said, always invest in property, never trade the stock market. So growing up, I had that mentality. So when I left school, I went straight into a JOB, and all I knew was to save to buy my first property. So in 1996 I went and bought my first property, and from 96 to 99 I went and invested in 5 properties. But coming into 99 I wanted to go buy another property, and I went to the bank asking the bank for another loan to buy another property, and unfortunately the bank said to me, look, you've got no more equity, you can't get another loan, we can't give you the money to buy this property. So I was disappointed, I was very upset about that. So going home and seeing my parents, my father saw me and said, son, what's wrong? And I said, Dad, look, the bank won't give me the money for me to be able to go buy that property. He said to me, I know what you're going to do. Go get a second job. Now, when you don't know what you don't know and you don't know it, well, you can't teach it. So all my father knew was you've got to work hard, and if you want more money, you've got to work even harder.
Right.
Now, for me, that wasn't the answer. I really wanted to generate some cash flow without having to work for it. I wanted money to work for me instead of me work for money.
Which is what we hear so much, is the idea, get that money, get some leverage, or leverage as you like to say, right? And have that start working for you as opposed to you working more hours.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what happened with me was, in 99 I was actually going to my JOB, sitting on the train, and there was a magazine sitting next to me, funny enough, and things just happen for a reason, as we all know. But what happened was, on the back of this magazine, on the back of the page, was this really great article saying, come to our event, learn about the stock market, learn about generating cash flow. So I thought, this is great. It was, a great article, and I ended up going into my office, ringing up and booking a ticket and going to this event. So for me, back in early 99, I started investing on the stock market. I bought my first stock market education, and in early 99 I went and invested in 4 stock market programs. They taught me how to speculate on the markets. So within the first 6 months in 99, I actually lost over $70,000 on the markets. I wanted to generate money from the stock market. I knew people were making money from the stock market. There's money to be made on the stock market. I wanted to be making that money on the stock market. So the fact that I outlaid over $10,000 for these programs to then lose $70,000, many people would fall down and not get back up.
That's right.
But as you know, realistically in life, we've got to get back up. There's risks in everything we do. And for myself, personal experience was, I knew money could be made on the stock market. People were making money on the stock market. I've just got to find the right strategy.
That's right. And you've got to figure that out, what it is, how you can do what those other people are doing, because
Correct.
success leaves clues.
Correct. Absolutely. You are so true. So what happened with me was this. Rather than saying the stock market doesn't work, it's not for me, I got back up that one extra time. So funny enough, I'm sitting on the train going to my job. There's that magazine again. Guess what's on the back page? You guessed it. Another article
A different seminar.
for another event.
Right.
So I get to the office, I book a seat, I get home that evening and I'm telling my fiancée, honey, you're not going to believe this, I'm going to another event in a couple of weeks' time. Well, she wasn't too impressed with that. But allowing her to give me permission to go, I promised her that I would not invest in anything, but I just wanted to go and listen. So
Right.
going to this
Classic story.
Absolutely. Going to this 3-day event, there was all these speakers up on stage talking about various strategies, property, stock market, internet. So I was very, very passionate about the stock market. I knew money could be made. I wanted the cash flow. See, internet and property, as much as there's money to be made, there's a lot of effort and time that needs to be put in, and there is really no guarantee of a return. So when it came to the stock market, here's these speakers up on stage over the 3 days talking about various strategies and stock market. And look, I'd seen past that. But then right
Because
at the
you'd
end,
seen that before. in other words.
Absolutely, absolutely.
In the other programs.
absolutely,
Exactly.
teach me how to speculate. You know, trading various strategies like your options, forex, and commodities, and those sort of things. So
And I'll show you how to lose $70,000.
absolutely, no. But everything. What the funny thing was, everything looks great on the whiteboard when everyone's up on stage.
Right.
So you know, it's all good when people show up on stage, but show me the downside as well. So I looked past that, but Nick Halik came up on stage right at the end. Nick Halik's up on stage saying, "Hey folks, 95% of people speculate. We'll put money on the market with no guarantee of a return. 5%."
The light bulb goes off.
Well, I
Excuse
go-
me, that must be me.
That's
We're
me.
talking about, right?
Halogen moments of certainty.
We call that a BGO, a blinding glimpse of the obvious.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Okay.
That's what it was. So Nick Halik gets up and says, "Look, folks, 95% of people speculate. 5% create the markets. What side of the market would you like to be on?" So I'm sitting there listening to him, going, "This guy's a fruit loop. What's he talking about?" So anyway, Nick said, "Look, folks, you can either speculate and put money with no guarantee of return, or purely buy some shares and rent them out and earn a consistent return every month, irrespective of market direction." So I thought, oh, okay. I need to
Maybe
listen
we
to
ought to
this.
say that again. Say that one more time, please.
I said 95% of people speculate, 5% create the markets. Do you want to speculate with the hope and pray to make money, or do you want to generate consistent return every month, irrespective of market direction?
Irrespective of market direction.
Absolutely.
I like that. That sounds a lot better to me.
It's almost like the Holy Grail, isn't it?
It is like the Holy Grail. You kind of go, duh. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So for me, it was, okay, I want to learn a little bit more. But he said, but before I go on further, folks, how would you like to actually see the results? Because many people get up on stage and say, this is what I generated 6 months ago, 12 months ago, and this is what I did 3 years ago. But realistically, it's irrelevant what you generated in the past. How about you show me how you're performing right now? Because a lot of people go up and say, I did this, 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 and this.